Good evening, hello and welcome to the news today, your destination for the news, the newsmakers, the talking. But our top story tonight, the statue fire continues to spread across the country. A day after communist icon Vladimir Lenin's statue was bulldozed in Tripura, social activist Periyar statue was defaced in Tamil Nadu's Vellore. Sangh Parivar icon Prasad Mukherjee's statue in Kolkata was the next target. In Uttar Pradesh, vandals targeted B.R. Ambedkar statue. The local administration was forced to step in and replace the statue in Meerut. Why exactly has the statue war gone so ugly and spilt across the country, with the Prime Minister reportedly now stepping in and warning the government to ensure the protection of statues? Our reporters tell you the story from Ground Zero.
Divisive statue politics grips India, from Tripura to Tamil Nadu to West Bengal and now to Uttar Pradesh. The figures of famous icons are being raised or defaced. Hours after a second Lenin statue was brought down in Tripura, a Periyar statue at the Municipal Corporation office in Vellore was defaced allegedly by a BJP worker. The DMK held massive protest across the state. The CPM and other parties joined in the protest.
We're seeing that the protests are only intensifying. The DMK had also staged its protests in some places. Now we're seeing how there are protesters here at Tinagar. This is an arterial road. We're seeing how people are being dragged in. The police officials are dragging in people from the protest group, and this is going to only intensify.
Sangh Parivar icon Prasad Mukherjee's statue was targeted in Kolkata. The face was blackened and a part of the statue was damaged.
This comes just hours after Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee yesterday spoke out on the incident in Belonia in Tripura, where the statue of Lenin was razed to the ground. Mamata had said that such incidents will not be tolerated. There might be ideological differences, but it is never encouraged to take to violence.
Soon statue wars have spilled onto Uttar Pradesh. Dalit icon Bhimrao Ambedkar's bust was demolished in Meerut. The administration has stepped in and installed a new one at the spot by afternoon. A walkout in protest.
The AIA-DMK MPs are protesting at the Vijay Chowk on the issue of Periyar. They walked all the way out from the parliament and now they are protesting here. I've been joined by Mr. Kanvi Durai.
Periyar statue was attacked and some damage they made it by the certain BJP people. For that we are condemning and demanding action against those people, anti-social elements, to take action against. That is our demand.
It all started on Monday when Lenin's statue in a public square in Tripura's Belonia was pulled down with the help of a bulldozer amid chants of Bharat Mata Ki Jai. The centre has now stepped in again and it has urged the states to crack down on hooliganism. With Akshay Nath in Chennai, Indrajit Kundu in Kolkata and Manogya Loiwal, Bureau Report, India Today.
And joining me now, the country's preeminent historian, author of India After Gandhi, Dr. Ramachandra Guha joins me. Appreciate your joining us, Dr. Guha. As you see these statues being targeted, razed to the ground, first Lenin, then Periyar, now even Ambedkar and Syama Prasad Mukherjee, how do you react as a historian?
Well, I would rather react first of all as a citizen and see it as a shameful abdication of law and order. I think all the governments, whichever state governments are in charge, whether they're in transition or not does not matter, should have ensured that this does not happen. I think some people in positions of authority and power, including state governors, as in Tripura, have implicitly endorsed this. So have some political leaders, both in Tripura and in Tamil Nadu, and that is unconscionable. First of all, it's the breakdown of the law and order machinery, aided and abetted by mischievous and malicious political elements.
When you say that...
We can debate the statues, whether Lenin should be there, whether Periyar should be there.
Yes, that's precisely it. Let's look at that. First of all, should there have been a statue of Lenin is being asked by some. That should the Tripura government in the first instance have put up these statues of Lenin, who according to some represents the mental slavery of the left, that they were putting up these statues. Do you believe these statues should have been up there in the first place?
You see, I am not a member of the Communist Party of India, Marxist. I am not a citizen of Tripura. But I would say this, that as a counterfactual, if the Communist Party of India, Marxist, had taken the advice of people offered over the years to have some Indian heroes, to replace, shall we say, Stalin with Bhagat Singh, and put up statues of Bhagat Singh in a mark of rooting their ideology and philosophy in the soil of this country and honoring a great Indian patriot, perhaps this would not have happened. But that's an academic discussion today, because the fact is that vandalism of any kind, gross and crude triumphalism of any kind by one group of Indians over another is bad for democracy. So, so those larger questions will be on the table. But the sense of sorrow at vandalism and violence is the preeminent sentiment, certainly for most sensible people. But it is true that Indian Marxists, unlike, shall we say, Chinese Marxists and Vietnamese Marxists and Cuban Marxists, have had a kind of mental slavery. That is the objective fact.
I'll come in a moment to this statue culture in the country, but you briefly mentioned the role of the Tripura governor, for example. He was quoted or tweeted as saying, what one democratically elected government can do, another democratically elected government can undo. Do you get a sense that here is the governor almost justifying the acts of vandalism, and then that leads in a sense to a counter reaction of the kind that we saw perhaps in Chennai with Periyar's statue also being targeted? There's a sense that, yes, there's a justification at times of this vandalism.
Absolutely. See, Rajdeep, Twitter is a medium in which people tend to act impulsively. You have acted impulsively in the past and regretted it. I have acted impulsively in the past and regretted it. But a constitutionally elected governor should not be in the business of shooting off his mouth on Twitter, and this particular governor has done it many times in the past. He has a habit of being provocative, tendentious, partisan on Twitter in a way in which does not become his high constitutional office. And with that past record, to do this as soon as his party wins is an open invitation for lumpens to say even the governor is on our side. Likewise with the senior BJP leader in Tamil Nadu, he deleted his Facebook post, but to say my nephew did it or somebody else did it, simply say I was sorry. So I think Tamil Nadu, of course, is much more problematic for the BJP because Periyar is an authentic Indian reformer. He's someone who's admired not just in Tamil Nadu but across India. But I mean, even in Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra, you will find statues of Periyar, for example. Right. So that's why the damage control set in. But I think private citizens like you and me, if we are indiscreet and irresponsible on Twitter, our professional reputation will take a knock. But for governors to do this is actually playing with fire.
The interesting thing though, as I play those pictures of Periyar, today statues of Periyar being targeted and Ambedkar, ironically both of them in their own way were against any form of idol worship. Periyar warned against it, in fact wanted all forms of idols, of gods and goddesses to be demolished, and Ambedkar warned against hero worship. And yet what's happening is you have Ambedkar statues that spout up everywhere, Mahatma Gandhi statues of course also everywhere. So this statue culture Is that part of the problem? Today we have a giant statue of Sardar Patel that's going to be built in Gujarat, of Shivaji in Maharashtra. The same money could be spent on health and education. What is this obsession with building statues, even of leaders who protested against idol worship?
Of course, absolutely. No, I think that several things at work here. One is statues that are there in inconspicuous places, let them be. One of my favorite examples is outside Cubbon Park in Bangalore, which you have visited, is a statue of Queen Victoria. I passed it this afternoon because I go every day to Cubbon Park for a walk. Let it be. Don't admire it, don't worship it, but don't bring it down. So statues that are there in inconspicuous places, let them be. If Queen Victoria was opposite the Indian Parliament, of course you would want her replaced by Mahatma Gandhi, right? So the first lesson would be something that is in a Lenin statue in a remote Tripura village. Chhod do yaar, just ignore it. Don't venerate it, don't abuse it, ignore it. That should be lesson number one. Lesson number two is, if you really feel the need for a statue, for example, I think it's wonderful that Ambedkar's portrait is in the homes of Dalits all across India. Because for a Dalit, Ambedkar represents achievement, courage, the zeal to do better in life. That's fine. But should you have a mega statue of Patel? I mean, if every Gujarati home had Patel in their home, in their house, that would be wonderful, that would be fine. But public money to be spent on Shivaji or Patel or anyone else, it could be, it could be Gandhi, Nehru, doesn't matter. So I think we have to adopt a pragmatic, mature attitude to statues. Statues that are there in public, erected by past regimes, let them be there, ignore them. If you admire someone, place him in your home or in your office, but don't make a public spectacle of it.
Okay, I think that's very well put.
I have behind me Gandhi. I also have Ambedkar somewhere else.
Yes, go ahead. So you have Ambedkar at home?
For example, on my study.
You don't have Lenin?
On my study, Rajdeep.
Yes.
No, I have Ambedkar upstairs. I have Gandhi behind me. I have Ambedkar in my bedroom. In my study, I have a statue of the greatest ever modern Kannadiga, Shivaram Karanth. But I'm not telling my government in Karnataka erect a mega statue of Shivaram Karanth outside Parliament. I admire Shivaram Karanth. He is there in my house, in my study. He's a writer.
Right.
I admire him. I would like to learn from him. So that should be a mature attitude when it comes to admiring people.
The problem, of course, is that the Congress for years put up statues of Indira, Jawaharlal and Mahatma. Now the BJP will want to replace them with their own icons. The left did it with Lenin. And these battles for icons will continue. I have just 30 seconds. One final piece of advice then for our netas in this battle of icons.
Well, I think it's absolutely true that the Nehru-Gandhi family, not the Congress, started it. Because the Nehru-Gandhi family excluded great congressmen like Patel, Shastri, Kamaraj, Kamala Devi Chattopadhyay and many others. So they started it and opened the way for misuse by the left and the right. But let's call a moratorium. Let's admire the people we truly venerate in our hearts and in our homes and our office. Let's not make a public spectacle of it.
Okay. Ramachandra Guha, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for joining me this evening on statue politics in the country. Thank you. And here's my take on that top story. There is very little to add to just what we heard from Professor Ram Guha, except to reiterate as forcefully as possible. Public monies must not be spent on grand statues, in my view, but on schools and hospitals. If the left admires Lenin, have a bust of the leader in your party office. If the right idolizes Golwalkar, put up a portrait in your office. And if the Congress can't get over the Nehru-Gandhi family or the Shiv Sena hero worship Shivaji, please spend from your party funds. A moratorium on statues built from taxpayers' money on public land is called for. Even the Indian with the maximum statues, Bhimrao Ambedkar, who was against deification, would approve of this moratorium. Okay, let's turn to the top political story of the day, where the blame game over the multi-crore PNB scam continues. Union Minister and BJP leader Ravi Shankar Prasad today targeted former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram. Even as Chidambaram's son is in CBI custody, the minister accused the former finance minister of tweaking the gold policy just to benefit private companies, including runaway jeweler Mehul Choksi's Gitanjali Group. Is Mr. Chidambaram now the next to be targeted by the BJP government. Take a look.
श्रीमान चिदम्बरम आपसे अधिक तेज है और हम लोगों से भी तेज है। उन्होंने 16 मई 2014 को साइन नहीं किया, 15 मई 2014 को साइन किया और बड़ा पाप किया, रिजल्ट निकलने के एक दिन पहले।
After the arrest of Karti Chidambaram, the Modi government is gunning for former finance minister and his father, P. Chidambaram. BJP leader and Union Telecom Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad on Wednesday stepped up his attack on Chidambaram over gold import policy cleared by him. Ravi Shankar Prasad alleges that Chidambaram relaxed restrictions on import of gold on 15th May 2014, just a day ahead of Lok Sabha election results. He claims the decision benefited private companies, including the Gitanjali Group, which is owned by scamster Mehul Choksi.
15 मई 2014 को भारत के तत्कालीन वित्त मंत्री चिदम्बरम साहब ने नई नीति को अप्रूव कर दिया, जिसमें जो आपके स्टार ट्रेड ऑपरेटर्स थे, ट्रेडिंग हाउस कहिए, उसमें उन्होंने प्रीमियर ट्रेडिंग हाउस को भी जोड़ दिया। अब ये स्टार ट्रेडिंग हाउस और प्रीमियर ट्रेडिंग हाउस में कौन कौन लोग थे, ये भी बहुत चर्चा का विषय रहेगा। गीतांजलि भी था उसमें।
The BJP is levelling several charges. It claims Chidambaram violated model code of conduct by taking a policy decision even as polls were on. It has questioned UPA government's haste in tweaking the gold import policy. The BJP has also targeted the RBI, which was headed by Raghuram Rajan then. The party claims it was wrong on the part of the RBI to notify the change without waiting for the Narendra Modi government to take charge. Interestingly, the Modi government had withdrawn restrictions on gold imports in November the same year. Hitting back at the government, the leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha, Ghulam Nabi Azad, accused the BJP of shielding billionaire diamond czar.
देश में बैंक घोटाला होते जा रहा है और हजारों करोड़ों का घोटाला हो रहा है कि देश में जो व्हाइट मनी था उसको भारत से बाहर भेजने में वो सफल जरूर हो गए। ललित मोदी चला गया, विजय मल्ल्या चला गया और अब नीरव मोदी और मेहुल चोकसी। अब ये पहले शुरू में हुआ था कुछ करोड़ों से, अब 21-22 हजार करोड़ तक पहुंच गए।
After the PNB financial fraud scam came to light, both BJP and Congress have been blaming each other for the huge scam. What the BJP's relentless attack on Chidambaram indicates is this is not the last we have heard in the Nirav Modi scam. Bureau Report, India Today.
Is Chidambaram guilty of impropriety? Will investigating agencies summon Chidambaram for questioning? Are Modi government's charges against Chidambaram valid, or is this the BJP's bid to deflect attention from the Nirav Modi scam? Does the Modi government actually have evidence of wrongdoing by Chidambaram, or is this a media trial? Sambit Patra, spokesperson of the BJP, joining me. Adil Singh Boparai, spokesperson Congress. But to you, Dr. Patra, all these details about the 80-20 gold import scheme, reports, the documents that Mr. Chidambaram allegedly signed on the 15th of May 2014, that would in a sense benefit premium trading houses to import and export gold. All this was known for the last 4 years. Why is it only now suddenly that you are claiming that there is a ghotala? I am told that the BJP at one stage believed that the 80-20 scheme was a good scheme. Now you are turning around and saying, no, Chidambaram is involved in wrongdoing. This entire scheme was done to benefit Mehul Choksi and Gitanjali. Is this your way of bringing the Congress and P. Chidambaram into the entire Nirav Modi Mehul Choksi scam?
Rajdeep, very respectfully, I would like to begin by a small objection that I have, since you had said in your report that the Bharatiya Janata Party is the Bharatiya Janata Party targeting Mr. Chidambaram. I would firmly say if someone is targeting Mr. P. Chidambaram, it is Mr. P. Chidambaram's own deeds which are falling back on him, and that would see him fall.
he is falling. Let me tell you outrightly over here, someone had rightly said that as far as Mr. P. Chidambaram is concerned, he is the friend, father and philosopher of black money in India, and he is not just the father of Karti Chidambaram, he is father of corruption as well in UPA dispensation.
No, when you say father of corruption, you must provide proof. My point is provide.
I'll do that.
And why is it that Ramachandra Prasad, the law minister, no less, is holding press conferences? Why doesn't the CBI and ED interrogate Mr. Chidambaram? You've arrested his son, interrogate P. Chidambaram, debated in parliament, you're carrying on a parallel media trial.
I'll answer that. I'll answer that. Rajdeep, no one should be impatient whether Mr. P. Chidambaram would be interrogated or not. I think very soon the impatience would bear fruit and you would see that law will take its own course, and the buck, I believe personally, that finally it stops at the doorstep of none other than the former finance minister of the country, Mr. P. Chidambaram. Now coming to the question that you asked in specific, as far as the 80-20 scheme is concerned, remember it was the DRI, the Director Revenue Intelligence, Directorate Revenue Intelligence, which was objecting to it even before Mr. P. Chidambaram brought it in August 2013. And thereafter, when the relaxations were made, in the ultimate day, I would say the penultimate day of the elections, why was Mr. P. Chidambaram doing it? It was a lame duck government. You had the model code of conduct. You were not supposed to pass any important file. What you did was, one of the most important economically implicating file was passed on 15th of May 2016. And of course, the question would be asked of the RBI. Immediately after that, on 21st, the RBI also clears it. And remember, 9 desks had to be cleared for this single thing, and it all happened within hours. Just imagine the hurry of it. And I need to correct you, the BJP never wanted to continue or was never in support of the 80-20 scheme, and that's the reason as to why 3 months of having taken into governance, it was scrapped. It was scrapped.
Let me Adil Singh Boparai. There is the question mark of why on the 15th of May, and let me tell you, some of us have seen the document which has been pushed through. So this is not a fictitious document. The document clearly shows on 15th of May, Mr. Chidambaram relaxed the scheme that benefited certain trading houses. They include Mehul Choksi's firm. Therefore, there will be the suspicion that why hurry through this scheme one day before the Lok Sabha results are out. To that extent, Mr. Chidambaram will have to answer that question. It may not be evidence of corruption yet, because you will have to prove that money was exchanged, but it is certainly proof of was Mr. Chidambaram a man in a hurry to benefit particular trading houses?
Rajdeep ji, the BJP is deliberately spreading lies, misinformation and selective facts. The fact of the matter is the decision for this particular scheme was taken in August 2013. That's number one. Number two, if you see the balance sheets of these two companies, whether it's Nirav Modi or it's Mehul Bhai Choksi, I urge the BJP and your channel to go through the balance sheets of these companies. These two companies actually registered losses. Point number two. Point number three, the BJP needs to respond. It was none other than the Prime Minister of this country who at a public function referred to scamster Mehul Choksi as Mehul Bhai. Can the BJP run away from video evidence? I think they need to respond.
You answer my
All
question
these allegations don't answer the critical question which the Congress party has been posing.
You will have to answer the question on May 15th.
I'm answering.
Why on May 15, 2014, one day before the Lok Sabha results, does
these decisions were already in the works?
No, who said that?
Rajdeep ji,
no, let me,
Rajdeep,
one minute,
leaking misinformation. This is not the Mr. Patra, I haven't interrupted you. Let me complete. I did not interrupt you. This was something which was already in the works. It started in August 2013. It simply means it is something which benefited the country. The country was going through a currency depreciation at that point in time. And most importantly, you can't lose sight of this fact. The Prime Minister and the BJP's friends actually registered losses because of this scheme. Please see Mehul Bhai Choksi and Nirav Modi's balance sheets. As a result of this scheme, these two companies registered losses. The BJP government continued with this scheme after they came to power. Why didn't the BJP government scrap the scheme immediately after coming to power? The fact of the matter is, this is a deflection from the core question. Why did the BJP allow these scamsters to flee? Does this explain who tipped these scamsters off?
You know,
whether it was the PM or the finance ministry, how is it that both these scamsters, along with their families, flee in a short span of 10 days?
Okay, 1 minute.
Does this explain this?
Mr. Boparai, 1 minute now. Is this headline management, Sambit Patra?
Don't say, oh God, please answer this question.
You know that Nirav Modi...
Who tipped these people off?
Mr. Sambit Patra, you know that Nirav Modi's case was to be raised in Parliament and the PNB fraud. To manage the headlines, you go ahead, arrest Karti Chidambaram just before the Parliament session. Now the Law Minister of the country is conducting parallel press conferences outside Parliament. If there is such hard evidence against Mr. Chidambaram, why don't you either arrest him, file an FIR, question him? None of that is happening. It seems at the moment the BJP has decided that let's throw enough mud and deflect from the core issue of the PNB fraud.
Rajdeep, first and foremost, let me correct my good friend, and the viewers also should be informed of the fact that Mr. Boparai was saying the false things. Yes, it was brought in, the 80-20 scheme was brought in August 2013, that was brought in order to rein the CAD, the current account deficit. But remember, on 15th of May 2014,
I'm glad
there was a
admitted to this,
relaxation given. Just a second. On 15th of May 2014, a relaxation was given to a few companies, approximately 7 companies, going out of the way. Why was this relaxation given? So that they could import more than 2,000 kgs of gold from any port of India without any verification and control. And the loss the CAG stated in 2016 was approximately 1 lakh crore. Now, I mean,
why have you not questioned Mr. Chidambaram on that till now? Why only now, after the Nirav Modi scam comes out, PNB is in the courts, are you questioning?
Rajdeep, you are
suddenly Mr. Chidambaram is... My point is, you have been in power for 3.5 years.
Let me also
is this headline management?
Rajdeep, let me
are you trying to manage the headlines?
Correct you, Rajdeep. Rajdeep, are you manageable? Am I managing your debates? Can you be bought? Can you sell your headlines? Of course not. I believe Rajdeep is neutral. He does not sell his headlines. So am I managing this debate? Of course not. You will discuss anything that is important. Remember, as far as Chidambarams are concerned, the first FIR was way back in 2017, May 2017, when there was no inkling of the Mehul Choksi case or the Nirav Modi case. So remember, we are not astrologers in the future. And if such was the vendetta case, if it was headline management, the courts are not anchors and panelists who participate in debate. The courts have given almost 9-day custody to Karti Chidambaram because there are hard evidences, clinching evidences against P. Chidambaram. And today I learned Mr. Karti Chidambaram would be facing some kind of narco analysis test. I don't know whether it's right or wrong, but the courts would not permit any of these without clinching evidences. And secondly, Rajdeep, since you are impatient whether Mr. Chidambaram would be questioned or not, personally, I firmly believe Mr. Chidambaram would not only be questioned, but Mr. Chidambaram has his fall from grace has just begun. Remember, Mr. P. Chidambaram
there is a threat almost. There is a threat in the words.
Can I come in?
I will give Mr. Boparai 30 seconds to respond.
These are not threats, sir. The people like Mr. Chidambaram and his son, they have looted this country as never before. Do you think they should be left? They should not be left. Remember, Mr. Karti Chidambaram and Mr. P. Chidambaram converted the FIPB.
Why did the Chowkidar turn a blind eye?
Rhetorics.
Mr. Patra, have the patience to listen. You're going to get exposed right now.
FIPB became a family interest promotion board. My question is, why was the FIPB doing all that under the behest of Mr. P. Chidambaram after Karti Chidambaram?
Let Adil Singh Boparai respond. Mr. Boparai, I am giving you 30 seconds to respond. The Congress will have to also answer questions. The Congress also will have to answer questions about what happened in that period. You cannot simply claim that Nirav Modi was allowed to escape, Mehul Choksi was allowed to escape. The fact is, there is a period before 2014 that you will also have to answer for, and so will Mr. Chidambaram.
Rajdeep ji, the Congress party does not believe in beating about the bush. Now, I need to make 2 very significant points. Your colleague from the media fraternity, Mr. Veer Sanghvi, sent a complaint in 2007-2008 to the then Minister for Information and Broadcasting. That particular minister forwarded the complaint against INX Media to Mr. Chidambaram in the Finance Ministry. It was Mr. Chidambaram who wrote to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs asking for an SFIO investigation against the affairs of INX Media. This is a matter of record. You can check up. Point number 1. Point number 2, the BJP doesn't understand. Please, Mr. Patra, do not interrupt. The BJP doesn't understand how the FIPB functions. Rajdeep ji, you need to intervene. We can't have a debate like this.
Mr. Patra, I must confess,
that's why they're getting jittery.
I won't allow
the BJP doesn't understand how the FIPB...
Quick word, Mr. Boparai, time is running out for you also. 30 seconds, tell me why is it that you believe Mr. Chidambaram has nothing to answer?
The BJP doesn't know... I was making my point, Rajdeep ji. The BJP doesn't understand how the FIPB functions. The FIPB is a committee of secretaries, which at that point in time was headed by D. Subba Rao. Now see the case of the CBI. The CBI says Mr. Karti Chidambaram influenced the FIPB. Now for the information of the BJP spokesperson, it was the INX media which made an application to the FIPB. The committee headed by D. Subba Rao approved that application.
You know more than Mr.
Then the file goes to the finance ministry from the undersecretary to the finance minister. And then the finance minister approves what has been approved by the FIPB. So is the CBI saying that Mr. Karti Chidambaram
you should go and defend him?
Unfortunately,
has the other secretaries been questioned?
Okay. We will leave it there. We will continue. We will continue to give both sides equal time. I will give both sides equal time, not allow cross talk in the future. But for now, clearly this is an issue which will resonate in Parliament outside. Is this headline management, or does Mr. P. Chidambaram have much to answer for?
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.